because we're like paid athletes. Red Bull.
So I reckon this is the first time we've shot the shit.
Shot the shit.
Together.
Shot the shit or shoot the shit? Is it? No, shoot the shit.
Well, this is the time we're shooting the shit for the first time in the same room.
Yeah.
So this is the bike room, often referred to as the dungeon, that you've actually slept in a few times. And I used to think it was like a TARDIS. And used to think I had so much space inside for such a little room. And I reckon I spent at least 45 minutes trying to clean it up enough to squeeze two svelte, athletic young men in and still give us close enough to 1.5 metres of distance between us.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So Sean, welcome to my dungeon, my bike dungeon.
Love it here. As you said, I've slept in here a couple of times. I actually really do like walking in this room and just drooling all over the Supercross goodness in here. There's a lot of history in this room. All the trophies, all the old frames, and yeah, and his squat rack. Because we all know how many squats he does.
In my skinny jeans.
In his skinny jeans, that's exactly right. He loves skinny jeans, just saying.
So we kicked off the day with a bit of a ride. So you're probably one of the first of a few people that have come and had a look at the BSX track and the work that All Tracks Australia have done.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I love it. I was here when Max and Dave, they came. It was raining and all that sort of stuff, and they were still doing really hard. They did the front straight and the first corner, and actually to ride it after that, it's a lot of fun. It took me a few goes just to get the feel, but once you get the feel, it's pops over nice. It's heaps of fun. So
the spec I gave them was to make it bigger, which will essentially make it faster, more flowy and fun.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you reckon they've achieved so far?
100%, yeah. Like, it's really good. You pop off the first one, you got heaps of speed just to jump into the corner. It's actually really, really good. A lot of fun. I can definitely say we're going to have a lot of fun here during the warmer months here in Australia.
So I'll give away your secret and tell people that you had a little bit of trouble at first.
I'm blaming COVID for that. I'm blaming COVID. Oh, look, I haven't really ridden too much at a track, so I guess my skills are a little bit in the bottom drawer.
It was less about skills, though, and more about just those first couple of pedals for accelerating and getting up to speed.
Yeah, for sure, and just getting back into the groove. Like, I've been riding my local a little bit, which is a totally different type of jump, a bit more racy, as you said, so I was kind of still trying to be a little bit racy and not relaxed and kind of trail style sort of riding. But yeah, look, it came to me, and then and as I said, I wasn't stressed about it. It was just get your head around it, relax, and just have a bit of fun, which is what happened. So it was good. But watching you killing it was, I guess, oh man, I want to do that. I want to get into that groove. So yeah, a few more times and I'll be all over it for sure.
Yeah, well, we changed it enough that it scared me a little bit initially, and I had to sort of sit back and think, well, have I gone the wrong direction? But after a couple of sessions, managed to get my head around it. So hopefully younger people who are more into riding their bikes even than I am will come up here and adapt really quickly on BSX Day, whenever that shall be. Fingers crossed it'll be 11th of January.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. So we'll move on from that. We should really find ourselves a topic for the week. We did discuss possibly talking about just bike setup and how we came to a particular frame, a particular set of forks, cranks and lengths and stuff. So one of your favourite bikes ever is your current cruiser, which we didn't manage to squeeze into this room with us.
No.
How did you decide on an alloy frame when you're quite a big supporter of chromo?
I guess I'm a huge fan of chrome, 100%. And I had a chrome cruiser, I had a Supercross Bolt, and I was just looking for something a little bit more sort of race specific. Like, the Bolt's really good to ride trails. You could ride the skate park with it. You can race it. And I thought, there's a lot of people that say, aluminium's better out of the gate, gives you a better feel. But the downside of alloy is obviously it's not as durable and longevity is not as long as, say, a chromo frame. But I bought myself a V5, a Supercross V5, and just absolutely loved it. Just, yeah, I thought, yeah, okay, yeah, it definitely is a lot stiffer, more responsive. So I thought, you know what, this is cool to race. And I continue, I just got another one. But chromo is the preferred material for a frame for me, just because of the way it feels and rides. When
I often tell people that it feels a particular way and I prefer chromo. What is your interpretation of the differences between alloy and chromo?
Well, beside the obvious with aluminium being stiffer and more rigid in the ride, and I mean, like I say, out of the gate, it's just... But I think, for me, chromoly seems to, especially in corners, just seems to corner better. I don't know, that's how I feel. Look, we all ride different things for different reasons. I don't know, I just feel better in corners on a chromo bike. I don't know, shoot me, I don't know, but I guess, yeah, it's just more of a natural feel. Like, I'm pretty sensitive. It's even when I'm driving a car, I can hear little nuances and I can feel things when I'm driving. Maybe it's a bit OCD, but when I'm riding, like, I can ride a bike of yours and I'm like, oh, it feels this way, and you go like, I can't feel that. You like look at me like I'm on the spectrum, but maybe I am. Like, I just feel all the little things, and Glenn, as in Maine, our teammate, he will back me up on that. I've got some weird feelings on when I set up a bike. How do you feel that? And I'm like, oh, yeah, just the way I am, just ultra sensitive, and I need a bike to feel a certain way, or I get all wigged out about it. So, but just. Yeah, like your 450, the first gen, the prototype, I felt it was so stiff in the bottom bracket compared to my Bolt, and you're like, I can't feel that. But I'm like, I could definitely feel it. Like, so I don't know. Look.
I guess as technologies improve and the materials they use improve, and even just the manufacturing process itself, things will get stiffer. So a chromoly bike from 10 years ago may not be as stiff as a chromoly bike designed these days. But, there's not too many that have been updated to try and compete with, carbon frames or alloy frames. So they still sort of carry that that same stigma.
Yeah, it's like Chinese drain pipes sort of thing, But in saying that, look, a young guy, we all know, Matty White, he's ridden my 450 a fair bit, my blue 450, and he says it's surprisingly stiff. He said, it's air hardened. It's the Tange chromoly, which is the best chromoly in the world, Japanese chromoly, and so maybe there's something in that, as you said, the way it's put together, the tubing, and he just loves riding. And he said, there's not much difference between that bike and his Speedco carbon. Like, that blew me away when he said that. I was like, oh my gosh, like. That's a bold statement. Yeah. And you run chromoly forks on your aluminium frame rather than what most people would run, like a carbon. So what was the decision there? I like the look of chromo forks, and the forks I run, the SLTs, have a tapered leg, and I just kind of like that. It looks kind of, sexy, I guess. I like the look, and it gives you, like, I feel. Like especially on the gate, it gives you a good solid feel, and I like a little bit of weight in the front end, I guess, for manualing and stuff, and that safety of if I was to have a mishap in the air or whatever, my forks are gonna stay true. But look, I've ridden bikes with carbon forks, like your Envy Black, and yeah, they feel awesome, and they are. But just, look, on the gate and stuff, you definitely go, I've got chromo underneath me, and that's what we grew up with too, 100%.
So I guess one of the other things that people will notice if they looked at your bike is you're always running flat pedals. So apart from the fact that flat pedals win medals.
Big medals, apparently.
What made you come up to that decision as well? I
suppose when I left the sport, there was no clips. I come back to the sport in 2000, and then there's these, clips. And look, I've tried them 100%, and I think I didn't actually give them a good enough go. But I just felt weird when I was jumping. Like, I can understand the concept because I could feel the better acceleration out of a corner, and and using different leg muscles. Like, my God, I didn't even think I had muscles there. Like, especially in the quads. So it was kind of, but I just couldn't get it out of my head that this whole being in the air and being attached, and so it was more of a mental thing. And I go, you know what? I'll just stick to what I know and what I've ridden with, and and there is times when you race and you load it up with guys with clips, and a lot of the times us guys on flats will be the guys on clips, and that's not to anybody out there in Facebook land or wherever, but I think it just comes down to what you're comfortable with, and I grew up riding with flats, and I guess I will ride until I can't on flats. But though the Catalyst pedal has just been a massive improvement, and just such a good pedal to ride on, especially when I have a pretty crazy foot injury. It gives you lots of support, and the concept behind it is when you do when you do squats at gym, you don't do squats on your tippy toes, you do them with your feet flat on the floor, so you get the maximum power from when you have to push down and then push back up. And the same principle is with the pedal, so you definitely get a lot of power transfer out of a big flat pedal. So I definitely and I love them. I've run 2 sets and that's it.
I find them comfortable, but they're not going to suit everyone. Someone like Glenn, who you spoke about earlier, he prefers the answer pedal, and I mean, it could be a foot size thing. It could be that he's used to clawing his foot around a smaller platform, but he's just more comfortable on the answer pedal. So I mean, I got size 13 shoe. What are you, 12?
Yeah, about 11 and a half, depending on how cold it is. Maybe 12.
We have seen little tackers, little broms, haven't we, on those platforms?
We have, yeah. It's crazy, but yeah, and Glenn's definitely, like, he's a Vans. He rides with Vans like we do, and I guess you get that clawing effect. But that's why there's so many different brands out there and products, because we all like different things. What works for you won't work for me, and vice versa.
So people might say you're biased, but you run profile cranks. You were, being on the profile team, clearly it's probably something you need to run, but you were already using profile cranks well before you were on the team. What made you decide profile? You were on race cranks, I think, at the time.
I was right, and I ended up having those I bought them from my local bike shop, Connections BMX, which is no longer there, but I bought profile because I guess growing up, that was the Redline flights, and also profile race cranks were the sort of cranks everybody's to want list. And I ran a couple of sets of profiles over the years, and then when I came back, that was basically a given. You just profile cranks. That was the first thing I went, oh well, I want profile cranks. And I had them for 10 years, and they never ever let me down, ever. Like, not once. Like, didn't have to replace anything. They just ran, like, just put them in, run them, make sure service the bottom bracket, make sure they're tight, and away you go.
I found that too. I got a couple of bikes back here that have 30-year-old profile cranks on them.
Yeah.
So the longevity, also the fact that they're lifetime warranty to the original owner. So you buy one set of cranks and you're set for life. And
no other crank company does that.
No. But I've tried some alloy cranks. I think the Kruppy Rhythms found too much flex in them. I don't know. I just stuck with profile, and I think you'll see on most of the bikes behind us, they're either profile or some other chromoly crank that Supercross might have come out with.
Strong arms.
Yeah, not that everyone will find that they're the best cranks. I've found talking to people over the years, some people say they knock their ankles because they don't have the same kind of clearance on your ankles, and other people might say they don't kind of understand how the splines work, and so they're not going to suit everyone, but they suit these two big boys sitting right here.
And I've not really ever built a bike for lightness either. I've always built a bike for durability and for purpose. I find that you build a well balanced bike, and a lot of people they lift my bike up and they go, "That's pretty light." And I'm like, I've not built it to be light. It's just I just want it to be functional and to make sure it actually it performs what it's supposed to without me going, oh geez, maybe I shouldn't jump those doubles or whatever, because
in real terms, we spend just as much time riding dirt jumps or other types of BMX, not just on the racetrack. So I think it's Paul keyed the term of a BSX build, where they usually have profile cranks, usually have flat pedals, usually have chromoly forks.
Yeah.
In most cases, they've got chromoly frames, you being the exception.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this do-all bike, and I think that's what we've all managed to kind of build, something that will be fine on the racetrack, nice, stiff, strong, reliable.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be scared to flog it in the backyard, sort of thing.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And and I guess, like I said, the way they're building chromo bikes these days, they're all modern geometry. They're, like I said, they're made out of brilliant materials, and it's kind of takes us back down memory lane too, because we all rode chromo frames.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, ran a chromo frame, and you're like, oh, I felt comfortable on that. Why not still stay comfortable? But for racing, yeah, you can run alloy, no problem, or carbon. I mean, carbon's really popular. It's accessible now because a lot of companies are doing it, and there's a lot of technology, and it's made so much improvement. So you ride what you like 100%,
Compared to the other riders in the profile team, you're the only one that runs column cranks on your race bike, I think. And maybe Glenn has one set, I'm not sure now.
Yeah, Glenn's got a set, and I must admit, Glenn, after talking to Glenn, he helped me. I just loved how they looked for a start, and then talking to him, and then I did have a few rides on his 450, the first gen, and I just loved them. I just love how they looked. They're just that little bit more beefy. 22mm axle, because I'm in the 1 ton club, so I got to go for stuff that's durable. I'm not getting any smaller. So yeah, and I just loved how they felt. How they feel again, because I was running the 19mm just standard race crank. Nothing wrong with them, but just that little bit extra beef was the way to go. So yeah, I run 2 sets, 1 set on my 20 and 1 set on my cruiser, and I absolutely love them. So
you run them with the outboard bottom bracket, and what, a Spider or a Sprocket?
No, a Spider, yeah. As I found, especially on my cruiser, and because of my foot injury, my foot turns slightly because it's all banged up down there, and it's all, all the tendons are tight and stuff. So yeah, I was riding, and my back of my heel was rubbing on the back of the frame. So now running the outboard, I don't get any foot rub on the back chainstay of my bike, and my stance feels a lot better anyway. So that solved that. So
you don't feel any flex or anything like that with those? You've got a titanium spindle. Had any problems with that?
Nope, not at all. No, and like I say, I'm in the 1 ton club. Over 100 kilos for all the people that are watching. So yeah, I'm not.
Only just.
Only just. Yeah, you can pay extra, and I'll tell you the real way. But yeah, look, okay. So yeah, I'm over 100 kilos, and yeah, I've got no problems with knowing that I'm running a titanium axle at all. And yeah, I trust it. And no flex, no nothing. 100%.
So, for many years, you would have run an inboard standard profile bottom bracket. Did you ever have problems with that?
No, not at all. No, like I said, just you put them in, make sure you service it, service your bottom brackets, and yeah, obviously the changing your bearings up, but everything else was just 100%.
But when you changed to an outboard bottom bracket, which had the wider stance, they got bigger bearings in them, so they roll a bit freer.
I noticed that straight away.
I got more life out of the outboard bottom bracket. I think I had an S&M one where I sheared the cup and blew out bearings.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. I've blown out heaps of bottom brackets. You would not believe some of the things I've done to bottom brackets.
Did you buy them a drink first?
I didn't feel I needed to because I owned them.
Yeah, no. There is that, for sure. But yeah, I have seen you say that you've blown out bottom brackets.
But I've never done it to an outboard bottom bracket.
Oh, wow.
Never had any problems, never had any failures.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool. I didn't know that for sure, but I suppose there's a lot more going on inside a standard bottom bracket, isn't there? The bearing smaller and...
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
So, and it could be that I'm getting older and weaker and don't look as good in my skinny jeans.
Ba-dum. For all the skinny jean haters out there, I'm not wearing them, trust me. My calves
You're letting
won't
your
fit.
boys free, aren't you?
Yeah, no, my calf muscles won't fit in them. That's my excuse. Yeah, no, yeah, and even if I wasn't on profile, I'd be running profile cranks.
Yeah.
That's not me just saying that. I actually 100% believe, and unlike some people, I don't know, around the world, if I didn't believe in a product, I wouldn't ride for the company or represent the company just because I get free stuff or get discount or whatever. I absolutely 100% believe in Profile's product. That's why I'm proud to represent them in any way I can. That's the bottom line.
Just a disclaimer, this isn't paid for by Profile.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Yeah. Look. I don't know.
But we are going to be a little bit biased. It's because we've relied on this stuff for many years and it's never let us down. So if you're going to come to us and ask us what stuff we can recommend, it'll be Profile, and there's a reason for it, and that's kind of what this discussion's all about.
Yeah.
And it's the same with hubs. You've had Profile mini hubs for many years before you're even on the team.
Mini hubs. I've had elite hubs. I've run Madeira hubs, which is basically a mini hub, and no problem. My daughter runs Madeira hubs, so yeah. I mean, I think I had a set of mini hubs for probably 8 years, and they were just bulletproof. They were just, I loved them, and that was another thing. I saved. I remember saving for them, and I went into Connections again in Bendigo, and I said, I want to lay by these purple minis, these purple mini hubs, and I was like, because purple's my favourite colour, but. They just run forever. Like say, if you service everything and you look after it, there's no lifespan. It's all about how you look after it and service it, and stuff will run forever.
Have you learnt any tricks for servicing it, or do you palm that off into a bike shop that might know a bit more about them?
Yeah, I'm one of those guys that like to keep bike shops in work. Oh look, and like. Lately, or the last few years, Matty White, because he works at a bike shop, he's always, and I trust him, he always looks after my bike and always comes back, and he runs Profile products himself, and when he was riding for Hyper, they were sponsored by Profile, so he knows their product inside out, and he'd always sort of tell me, hey, when are you going to service this hub? And I'm like, yeah, okay. He goes, oh, it's about time you need to service your hub, so He's been good like that. So, no, I'll take it. Or Paul Knox or Gary. I get him to look at my stuff. If I say, hey, this is my hub need, is it okay? Yeah, cool. I'll pull it out of my bike, have a look, have a play around with it and put it back in. So, yeah, it's always kind of good to have Gary or Paul at the track for any maintenance issues. But I haven't really had any, so,
So being a little bit larger than the average racer in our age group,
me or you?
Well, both of us. But I think I'm heavier than you are. I must be 102 kilos and you're 101. Is that right?
Something like that. More closer to 20. But
being a little bit bigger, is there anything on your bike you felt like, I better beef this up? I better run something a little bit thicker than usual, or a bit stronger or heavier than usual?
Well, I think for me, like the cranks, especially because. I guess. Look, I've broken some pedals over the years, like doing sprints. I've broken some pedals doing sprints and stuff like that. So I know. I mean, I'm not the fastest guy on the track, but I definitely know I've got some power. And I think power to weight ratio maybe. I don't know, but I'm always very, very, very cautious, or not cautious, I suppose. Just. Always very switched on with what my drivetrain's like run a good chain, run some strong cranks, and also make sure there's no wear and tear on the sprocket or the rear cog. That's kind of my thing, because look, I've had a couple of bad crashes over the years where the drivetrain's let me go, or I haven't tightened the back wheel or something. So that's my little. I get a little bit of juju about drivetrains, especially cranks and stuff. So yeah, that's where I probably go.
So what sort of a chain do you normally run by choice?
I run an ACS Crossfire.
Yeah, same.
I do actually secretly though do have a KMC train on my 20-inch just at the moment. I needed a chain ASAP because I changed the gearing and I was trying a new gearing. And I just went to my local, Matty, and just bought a KMC chain off there. He recommended it. He goes, this one will be fine for you. Because he knows, obviously, that I'm 101 kilos. So, yeah, he recommended it. So, look, but you can't go past having a good chain. You can't scrimp on having a good chain. You know, that's vitally important, and you know, it takes a lot of load.
Talking about load, your chain tensioners, you got what speedline chain tensioners, because they're quite beefy, short, and they're not going to flare and bend on you and let go.
That's 100% right. And, you know, look, it's all about Supercross and Speedline, you know, it kind of matches too. I kind of like that connection. And Bill always makes a really good product. But, yeah, they're a lot thicker. So, that's another thing. Driveline, just making sure it's all going to stay rock solid while I'm, you know, putting in the big ones down the hill. Especially now with all these 5-metre hills. Yeah, that's another thing you want to make sure your bike, coming out of the gate and getting on it, you're not going to have to go, oh, geez, I hope this is going to, you know, hold up to this. You know, and I still like to jump and stuff like that, like you know, so we want everything to be durable and not go, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, this, you know. So, but your bikes are fairly similar to, I ride your bikes all the time. Thank you for that. You know, I've nearly ridden all these bikes in here, I reckon.
Everyone that I've ridden.
Yeah, I reckon I've probably ridden most of these bikes in here. Sometimes not asking, but yeah, there is a few good fan favourites in here. But yeah, and you and I pretty much ride the same setup except for different bars.
Yeah,
probably.
I think I run my bars forward and different bars.
Different bars.
And longer cranks.
Yeah, because he's got like these legs like giraffes. Like I've tried to run, because he runs what, 185?
No, 182 now. I've made him a bit shorter.
Oh yeah, because you're getting old and you're stooped.
That's it.
He's stooped over.
I'm not drinking enough milk.
Yeah.
Calcium deficient.
Yeah, and I remember you lent me a pair of 185s and it felt like my hip was going to dislocate. I came out of a corner and I was like this. I was like, yeah, no, that's not for me. Shane, I think I need him back. Yeah, it was the weirdest feeling ever.
I reckon I've been running 185s for about, since mid-80s. And I only just changed when I jumped onto Elites maybe 3 years ago.
So, I've come up with a term too. So, like, BC used to stand for before Christ. So now it's going to stand for before COVID. So, like, that was obviously before COVID, BC.
Oh, well before COVID.
Well before COVID, yeah. So,
but isn't that confusing? Because you got BC and BC.
BC and BC. Okay, yeah.
Before BCV?
BCV?
Yeah, before coronavirus.
Oh, okay, coronavirus.
BCV and BC.
BCV 19, if you really want to get to. Now we sound like we're quoting out of the scriptures. Anyway, but yeah, your setup is, I can get on one of your bikes anyway and just pretty much nearly shred as good as you. So, and there's been a few times before I got back into riding and owning a 20-inch, we'd go away on these road trips or whatever, and I'd say, oh, can I just borrow, you know, can I go on your bike? Oh, yeah, if you have to. So then I'd ride it, and I'm like, man, you're all going, just get a 20-inch. Seriously, just buy one. Oh, but, like, I don't know, but, you know. So then I bought one, and I love it. Love racing it. You know, my poor cruiser looks at me in my room and goes, can you ride me? So that's why I bought my cruiser up today, just to have a bit of fun on it and get used to the new line here. So I always like to have a bit of a safety sort of thing. Cruiser's a bit more mellow, but saying that, I probably would have turned up on the 20 and probably maybe done it even a bit better. You know.
Guess what, mate?
I know what's happened. I do know. You and I.
It's not your fault this time.
Yes.
It's my fault. So I got a really tiny SD card in the camera, and it ran out of space. So lucky you've got a short episode this week.
Sorry guys, but hey, we'll be back with more, I promise.
All right, cheers for now. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.